Unity Matters.
Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Ken Schachter, and on today's episode of Disrupting Hate on hmTv, we'll be joined by special guest Joel Katz, Northeast Regional Director of the March of the Living. Joel will be joining us via Zoom. We'll be discussing how the march helps keep the world's memory of the Holocaust alive and the impact of the annual event on the lives of those who take part. But before we get to those items, Joel, give us an overview of the march. When did it start? How long is the march? What are the destinations?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. March of Living started in 1988, and it was every other year until 1998 when we came every year. It's a 2-week opportunity for Jewish youth from around the world. We have up to 52 countries being represented. They will arrive in Poland before Yom HaShoah, which is about 2-3 days after Passover ends. And on Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, all these teams from all these countries all come together with survivors in Auschwitz and walk out as free Jews the 3.5 kilometers from Auschwitz to Birkenau, where we have a ceremony. Most of us then travel on throughout Poland. Our group visits 5 concentration death camps while we were there. And then the second week we spend in Eretz Israel so that we can join our Israeli brothers and sisters in celebrating and commemorating Memorial Day, Yom HaZikaron, and Israel's Independence Day. So the same child who walked out of Auschwitz is now at the Kotel for Independence Day.
And Poland is the destination because that was where most of the Nazi death camps were. Is that correct?
Well, yes, correct. And because we have many of the camps still standing, Auschwitz is pretty much intact. Birkenau, a lot is there. Majdanek, unfortunately, a lot is still standing. We have Plaszow. Schindler's List gave tremendous notification and information to the world about the atrocities in Plaszow and in Krakow. So that was the destination that was chosen back in 1988 when the march first started.
And who are the participants? Is it all students? Are they primarily from the United States or other countries?
No, we have 52 countries of the world participate. I am just responsible for the Northeast, from Maryland to Maine, here in the U.S. In fact, this year will be my 26th trip. We have groups from Canada, South America, from all over Europe, from the Middle East, from Africa, from Australia, everywhere in the world, every little country that has Jewish teams, Jewish representation, join us each year on Yom HaShoah in Auschwitz.
Do you visit the Warsaw Ghetto and the headquarters of the Jewish Underground there?
Yes, my region, my itinerary includes the Warsaw Ghetto, the Ghetto Uprising. We visit the Nozyk Shul that is still there. We meet with the chief rabbi. We spend time at the other camps. We go to Tikochin and Treblinka, a death camp. As I said, we go to Plaszow and the Krakow Ghetto. We also go up to Lublin, where the yeshiva was, where they started the Daf Yomi, and we get to visit Majdanek, the death camp that is just a few miles away.
And are the relics well preserved? What kind of condition are these things in?
Fortunately or unfortunately, there is still enough to see and touch. In Auschwitz, the showers, the gas chamber, and 2 ovens are still standing. In Majdanek, 12 ovens, the gas chamber, and the showers. Both in Birkenau, Auschwitz, and Majdanek, many bunks are still standing where the teens can walk inside and actually lay on the wooden slats that were set as the layers of places where, unfortunately, the inmates had to live. We get to see the neighborhoods around that still exist today around those death camps that were there in the 30s and 40s as they were murdering our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers. And this Plaszow and Tico and Treblinka are more of a memorial site, but we still walk the grounds and can identify where the gas chambers and ovens and other things, other structures were in those camps.
Of course, the Holocaust generation is very aged now, but do a few survivors accompany the marchers?
Yes, I have been very fortunate that on all of my trips, I have had a Holocaust survivor join me, and these Jewish teens were escorted by that survivor. And as Elie Wiesel taught us, when you speak to a survivor, you become the witness. So fortunately, in over the 1,500 teens who I've traveled with are out there today throughout America, and they are witnesses. They are there to tell the story of our survivors who made it through the Holocaust and who they themselves walked through the remnants of these 5 camps.
How long have you been working with the March, and how did you get involved?
I'm a volunteer, and I've always been a volunteer. I started back in 1996 when Dr. Chaim Lauer, who was the director of the Jewish Education Center here in Metro West New Jersey, invited me to help him chaperone the trip. That year, again, I had the dubious honor of running the JCC Maccabi Youth Games, so I could not take the trip. But he promised me the following year, which would be 1998, I could. And I've been a volunteer ever since. I have not stopped. I am very passionate about it. Back in 2005, through the years, I've taken all of my 5 children, and my wife went with me many times. But in 2005, I also brought my father. My father liberated Dachau as a U.S. soldier. And I have a picture of my father standing at the ovens in Dachau. And I have that same picture of myself standing in the oven of Auschwitz. Again, my dear father, my mentor, because of his Hebrew and Yiddish background, he stayed on after the war and was able to interpret at the displacement camps for the survivors and spoke to them in Hebrew and in Yiddish in order to help them with their survival.
That's incredible. Can you tell us about a couple of more memorable moments that some of the marchers may have had?
Sure. We've been very lucky throughout the years of having Rabbi Lau, who was the chief rabbi of Israel, Ashkenaz rabbi of Israel, a survivor of Auschwitz. He has been with us on every march, and he speaks with us at Birkenau at that ceremony. Another mentor of mine, Nishtigadaf, unfortunately just passed away 2 years ago, Mr. Ed Mossberg, a survivor from 8 camps. He went on the march many, many years and spoke many times and afforded me the opportunity to save many Sifrei Torah that were destroyed or ruined during the Holocaust. And together we worked bringing them out and bringing them back to be repaired here in America. Other special events, of course, is when prime ministers of Israel join us for the march, or the president of Israel joins us for the march. And then, of course, when our children who walked out of Auschwitz, walked out of the Albat Machai fence, and literally 7 days later are walking through into the old city of Yerushalayim and able to walk to the Kotel and to kiss the Kotel wall, places and doing things that Hitler swore the Jew would never be on this earth to do those things. We now, 3 and 4 generations later, are proving the man and his mission wrong. Another beautiful thing that's happening now in the last 2 years, I am now taking children whose parents went on the march in 1988, 1990, and 92. So besides having third generation surviving children, we now have second generation marchers who are now participating.
And how do the Polish people and government view the march?
Well, we've been very fortunate. They've been very respectful. We've been allowed to walk the streets and visit their communities, the ghetto of Krakow, or the town of Tykocin, or the city of Lublin. Occasionally there's an evil person out there. You might get a finger or you might get a sneer, but we've been very fortunate of having very safe and secure programs. Of course, we have levels of security built in, both with us personally, the police and military in Poland is there, and of course, even during the last 2-year crisis, we know that Israel's security is also with us in Poland and manages and controls the safety of all of us.
Have there been changes in the march over the years and how it's conducted?
If anything, maybe a little expansion or going to a few of the more different camps instead of the usual 5, depending on our flexibility and if we add a day or detract a day from it. But we've been very fortunate. We've not been stifled from taking the children. And by the way, there are adults groups also that are attending. In fact, I take adults with me. Sometimes I take a parent of a marcher or a grandparent. But we've been afforded the opportunity to still go visit at least 5 camps on every visit, spending Shabbat in an active shul, whether it's in the Krakow ghetto or in the Nozik shul in Warsaw with Rabbi Shudrick. We've been fortunate. It's been, capable for us to give these children the best opportunity for hands-on education.
And where how do you all meet? Do you fly into Warsaw or some other central city and group there?
Depending on the year and when the holiday falls out, Yom HaShoah falls out. For instance, last year we flew into Warsaw. I spent 2 days in Warsaw before we moved on to Krakow, because Krakow is the closest Jewish community to Auschwitz, Auschwitz. This year, the contrary, Yom HaShoah, we're flying on Sunday. The Chag ends Thursday night, and of course, we won't fly on Shabbat. So we're flying on Sunday, and we're flying right into Krakow because on Tuesday is Yom HaShoah. So we will spend the first 2 days in the Krakow ghetto in Auschwitz and Birkenau, and then the rest of the week we'll move up towards Warsaw, Treblinka, and Majdanek, the Lublin area. Again, we watch the Jewish calendar, Yom HaShoah, and we use that as our center point, and we plan from there.
If some of our listeners have their interest piqued, how could they get involved with the March of the Living?
As you can see from the background of my picture, go to our website, our international website, motl.org, and at that location they can see everything about the program, our history, our leadership, and all of our regions throughout the world, whether they want an adult group, a young adult group, or the teenage groups that we take. Just to give you an example, in 2019, prior to COVID, we had our largest march there were well over 15,000 Jewish teenagers who walked out of Auschwitz that year. Of course, since COVID, things have changed. Last year, we were well over 10,000 who were there for Yom HaShoah. So that is, just think, educating our next generation of Jewish children. That is the most important mission we have.
Remarkable. You say you have a bunch of kids. Have they been on the march as well?
All of my children have, my 5 children. I have my oldest grandchild is 14 and a half, and he's begging me to keep going, Grandpa, so you can take me when I'm, usually we take high school juniors and seniors. They've reached that level of maturity. Also, they've already selected their college for the following year, so their study levels are a little different. And, that's how we run it for them. But yes, thank God my 5 children have all gone with me. And as I said, before my father passed, I was able to have that with him. And one of his grandchildren were with us as well.
What about the part in Israel? How does that? What are the logistics of that?
The beauty of that is, and again, my yeshiva upbringing and my education, what we do is we bring the Holocaust and Israel together. I take the children to places that have that connection. For instance, are you aware that when the Jews got kicked out of Israel during the Spanish Inquisition, did you know where they went? They went to Krakow, Poland. And you know how we know? If you go to Tzfat, to the beautiful artist colony up north, and you go through all the little shuls that are on the alleyway, and you go inside the shul and you see the beauty of the shul, the blue paint, the tefillot that are on the wall. Well, go to the Krakow ghetto and you'll see the shuls are the same way. We've brought our custom, we've brought our Yiddishkeit with us when we had to exile in Poland. So we bring that kesher. We show the children of Tzfat and of Krakow. We take the children to Tel Aviv, of course, and get them, they get a chance to daven shachrit on the beach. We get a chance to go up north and for Yom Ha'atzmaut, for the fireworks, when it's peaceful. We have a Kinneret boat ride, cruise ride with fireworks above us. Everything, and of course, we do take them to Yad Vashem, but we take them to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum, in a very, very different way, because they were at the real McCoy. They're now going to see things through a different set of eyes, and they're going to see different exhibits that the regular tourist doesn't see. So everything we do is bound together, is worked together, and has a mission and a purpose. And we ask the children 2 things before they leave us in Eretz Yisrael. One is that they come back and get to see the rest of the country. And more importantly, we ask them all to promise us Jewish grandchildren, not Jewish children, but Jewish grandchildren. And that's what we ask of every one of our participants.
Have you kept in touch with some of the kids that you brought on the march and over the years and seen how they've progressed?
Well, I personally have been in touch with every one of my alum. Every Erev Shabbat, I send out an email to them with a bunch of stories of highlights of the Jewish world and Jewish community. And I also have the zechus, the honor of having an alum in the White House. You might have heard of Jared Kushner.
Indeed, I have.
He traveled with us, with me on the march.
And this was during the Trump's first term?
When he was a teen at the Kushner Yeshiva, he and his father, Charlie, the ambassador to France, whose family came from Krakow. And in fact, all 4 of Charlie's children, joined us on the march, and Jared was one of them one year.
And what year was that?
I believe it was 1998 or 1999.
Is there a lesson here? Have you had some non-Jews who've also participated in this?
I only take Jewish teens and Jewish adults with us on my groups. There are occasionally non-Jews that do participate. I am a resident of New Jersey. The New York State Police do come in mass, a group of at least 5 to 10 each year, and they are not Jewish. The International Office manages all the other regions, but as far as the teen groups go, we are taking Jewish teens with us.
All right. Well, any other what haven't we covered here? What other?
If anybody's interested, both teen and adult, please check our website. Find your geographic region in the world, in the country. Get in touch with us as soon as possible, because we're locking in our flights in the next few weeks, and we're moving in. In fact, I have an open house this evening for 25 teens who are looking to go. Last week, I was in Manhattan. I had 35 teens signing up. We're moving hard and fast after the Chagim now to get our children signed up and get the 2026 trip going, the journey going.
And what are the dates for the 2026 trip?
We are leaving Sunday, April 12, and we'll be returning on Sunday, April 26. Those are the 2 weeks of Yom HaShoah and Yom HaTzmaut.
I'm afraid we're out of time here, but thank you for tuning into this episode of Disrupting Hate on hmTV. Our director today was Priscilla Dolan. Many thanks to our guest, Joel Katz of the March of the Living, for sharing his insights. Be sure to subscribe, share, and stay connected for more engaging conversations. Until next time, take care and be well.